And in our top business story, September data from the Emirates NBD Purchasing Managers Index was consistent with another robust improvement in business conditions at UAE non-oil private sector firms. The survey, which contains original data collected from a monthly survey of business conditions in the UAE non-oil private sector, showed that higher output and new orders remained the key drivers of overall growth, supported by further rises in employment and input stocks. The rate of hiring eased to a 6-month low at the end of Q3, while growth of total new work was undermined by the first drop in foreign orders since May 2010. On the price front, a sharper rate of cost inflation was reflected in a renewed increase in output charges. The Purchasing Managers Index posted 56 in September, down from 57.1 in August, but was still indicative of a solid improvement in business conditions. Growth has been relatively strong throughout the third quarter, with the respective average coming in only just below the trend observed so far in 2015. Underlying data suggested that sharp rises in both output and new orders contributed to the strong performance of the sector as a whole. Emirates Airlines has indicated that it won't be announcing any big orders at next month's Dubai Air Show, and said it wouldn't make a decision this year on whether to purchase the Airbus A350 or Boeing 787 twin-aisle jets. Tim Clark, the airline's president, was quoted as saying that the carrier was still taking delivery of planes announced at the last show in 2013, when asked at an event whether any orders were likely to be announced at the air show, which runs on the 8th to the 12th of November. The airline is expecting delivery of new 777s, which will come in late 2018 and 2019. Dubai's flagship carrier has said it is looking at an order for 50 to 70 twin-aisle, with the main competitors being the Airbus A350-900 and Boeing's new 787-10, a stretched Dreamliner. Many analysts had expected Emirates to announce a big order at its home air show next month, as it has done previously. At the show in 2013, it placed a record-breaking order for 150 Boeing 777X, valued at $76 billion list price, and added another 50 A380 jumbo jets to an existing order for 90 of the Airbus aircraft, in a deal valued at $21.4 billion at list price. High-profile government officials, top-level economists and leaders from the regional and global transport industry have attended the 11th edition of the MENA Rail and Metro Summit and discussed ways to build sustainable urban transport systems while overcoming policy decisions. While attending the MENA Rail and Metro Summit in Dubai, the UAE Minister of Public Works, His Excellency Dr. Abdullah Al-Nuaimi, stated that UAE's strategy to invest in a well-planned and integrated mass transport system, including rail, metro, bus and water vehicles in the country, has not only addressed traffic congestion issues but also helped in overcoming the environmental impact of transportation. The minister highlighted that the UAE law, which allows the government to seek financing through private-public partnerships, has widened the funding options for massive infrastructure projects in the region. The leading business intelligence magazine in the region and summit organizer Mead stated that this unique platform offers an opportunity to build a momentum in moving the goals of the $350 billion strong urban and regional rail transport industry forward.
I think there are two strategic priorities for government here. Firstly, it's about making the cities of the region work better. So we have this rapid growth of the urban population centres in the GCC and actually globally, but particularly in the GCC. And the infrastructure is not set up for it. We have to invest in new railways, metro systems, tram systems, integrated transport systems to make the cities work efficiently. And then there is the second priority, which is the regional interconnectedness. So this is to increase efficiency in trade, in transportation across the region, to link up the cities and to link up the region with the rest of the world. And I think overarching all of that, it's about driving sustainability, reducing carbon emissions, and public transport is probably the biggest single investment governments can make to improve energy efficiency and sustainability, to get people off the road and onto public transport. So really that's the overarching objective and the reasons for this conference.
The future is for the PPP. Now, the private sector would like to see their ground stiff and strong. And the strength of the ground is actually nothing but the legislation and the regulations. And what we have today is a standing point. Now, what we would be doing in the future as the United Arab Emirates is actually a path that would make the tie between the private sector and the government is solid. And we've seen some good projects that made sense to the overall economy in the United Arab Emirates. The capital today with the private sector, if it has not been channeled to develop projects that are seen to be feasible, would have a zero value. But the value of the investment would make more sense if it is based on the ground where the legislation, regulations, and the government looks into the PPPs as a great initiative to tie up the private sector and the government.
During the summit, RTA's chief engineer of rail agency Shahrin bin Abdus Salam revealed details about how Dubai Roads and Transport Authority is considering financing deals from public-private partnerships for the Route 2020 project. While talking about how transport is the only sector of the world economy where demand for fossil fuel is set to rise, the lead economist for transport at the World Bank, Dr. Andreas Kopp, emphasized that the trade-off between creating economic opportunities and balancing with sustainability challenges will be difficult for emerging and developing economies to address.
I think that countries that are still building up their infrastructure in particular, they should see that fossil fuels will become significantly more expensive in the future and that they can save on transportation costs if they do the right, smart kind of investment in infrastructure now, which means that give emphasis to the modes that are need relatively low amounts of fossil fuels. And we are here at a rail conference. Railway is one of the sectors that should be receiving more attention maybe in the future than it has in some countries in the past.
1 in 5 of the Middle East's super rich live in the UAE, according to new figures from intelligence firm WealthX. The figures reveal that in the UAE, the number of ultra-high net worth individuals classed as those with net assets of $30 million or more has reached 1,275, with a combined net worth of $225 billion. 495 of high net worth individuals live in Dubai, while 450 reside in Abu Dhabi. Across the Middle East, there are 5,975 high net worth individuals with collective net assets of $995 billion. The UAE places 22nd on WealthX's league table of countries with various countries of wealthy individuals. Saudi Arabia is ranked at 18th, while Kuwait, the next GCC country after the UAE, is ranked at 32nd. The study said that only 3% of the UAE's super wealthy made their fortune through oil and gas, 8% fully inherited theirs, and 35% partly inherited their wealth and then grew it. More than 57% of the richest people in the country are self-made. In terms of wealth creation, the region was the fastest growing across the world, with the number of the super rich rising 12.7% year on year and the value of their assets increasing 13.1%.